For real. I got big rank, you mad, get stained, work hard, then play, bad bitch, my taste, we vibe, we lay, you purple, you gay, you leech ass, lil' fame, I won't walk, got the same, for real. For real. I try to tell these motherfuckers time and time, nigga. For real. Puss ass, purple ass nigga, man. For real. Make your born ass right. Niggas better get their weight up, you little body bitch. Worry about a damn pay cut, you little body bitch. I ain't worried about none of these niggas, little body bitch. You that scare rag, call that little body bitch. Had to fuck around, get my rank up, you little body bitch. And I'm pouring up, y'all young nigga, and I'ma take a sip. Yeah, all these niggas run down, hate, but tell them zip it, lip. You a dumb ass, scare ass, boy, little body bitch. And I ain't worried about nothing, nigga, nah, I ain't worried about shit. I got more than one, so you know nigga don't reminisce. I spit flavors on these damn beats, niggas better catch a pitch. Never knew a goddamn man be scared to represent. But you a whole ass, dirt ass, little damn body ass nigga. Get body with it damn scripture with your little body ass nigga. Nigga, I'm a true priest, true line nigga, true Zion ass nigga. And you a little boy, a little bitch ass, little body ass nigga. Big rank, you mad, get stained, work hard, then play. Bad bitch, my taste, we vibe, we lay, you purple, you gay, you leech ass, lil' fame, I won't walk, got the same, for real. I tell them, nigga, for real. Get your shit together, nigga, for real. Work. I'ma do this shit till I write, you little body bitch. I'ma ditch your ass like your pot, you little body bitch. And I smooth with it, y'all zop, you little body bitch. And I switch, ain't gon' know a thought, you little body bitch. And I'ma stay terminal like the cuz, you little body bitch. And I'm stone cold like a bond, you little body bitch. And I'm a warrior like that Gabar, you little body bitch. And my aim like that a zop, you little body bitch. Need a princess pop out, you little body bitch. Or anyone down the slide, you little body bitch. Yeah. I keep a couple straps in my ride, you little body bitch. Just in case anyone wanna die, cause I'm body bitch. I got big rank, you mad, get stained, work hard, then play, bad bitch, my taste, we vibe, we lay, we purple, we gay, you leech ass, lil' fame, I won't walk, I sing, for real. Hey, what I tell you, nigga? What I say, fuck wrong, nigga. Fuck wrong with you, pussy ass nigga. That wasn't it, though, man. Yeah, you know what it is. 140 for the rapper, busy man shit, nigga. They take their head over, nigga. I read what Eve did to Adam, I just pray my love don't lie to me. Swing the iron like stamps and I can't let no holder lie to me. I don't feel these rappers, all they lies is hypocrisy. Ain't no competition, ain't no rivalry. Niggas think I'm playing, I don't hear one word they saying, this shit light work. Think Muhammad one of us, he might lose his life first. Suckle up and stay alert. Another cop can stretch the nigga. He ain't demon, it's an exorcism. Watch I bless the nigga. You took that open blood, then you know I'm gonna get active with you. From the opposition, I see vision. Let me paint the picture. Rappers claim they spit and I ain't listening. Is in fact the If revenge was a woman, now I scope that bitch like Jacob. So I war, we gon' run the summer. It's gon' be historical. Thought they making plays, made them niggas call the audible. Ask who run this shit, but that question is rhetorical. Bitch, I'm the one, me cookies with the oil. I'ma get them crack as hell, should've never kidnapped my family. I can't be do that. Bet I be the last nigga standing. Do a life sentence for my niggas, pray you understand me. I might put a switch on this Glock and call it young baby. How you real trigger know them dots? You a bird feeder, claiming he a demon. What's a demon to a cold leader? When he said something, I ain't hear him. This shit like it ain't all who got the gun, it's all who gon' up that fight first. I turn a bad situation to a game change. Bring soldiers from the dead, just raised up the change. 10 shots, I'ma look like Aaron Jones when I run it. Never bite the hand and feet, but you will never get that hand back. He bitching about 10%, I don't wanna hear none of that. He dropping sword, fuck him, just make sure you get that cover back. Look around, he ain't with us, probably cause he never was. Now my chin like you with the angels for your brothers. Everybody wanna be Richard Porter, God kill him like Alpo. Play if he want, it's laying in the trunk like Lee Malvo. I'm a certified rubber ass nigga, I am not a toy. Hey, out with that hollow sign, yeah, this the real McCoy. Feel like Gullah Jake when I'm in Fayetteville, you feel your boy. Still up on my bread, still I think that's all that I do. The way I get that boy lost, they gon' start to call him Elroy. Fuck his game, pop out on them demons like I'm Hellboy.
JT on the track.
Fuck wrong with you, boy? You know what time it is, nigga. Better watch how you step in. Yeah. But that was my nigga. I'm in you. Got my nigga Rawan with me. But that was my niggas, it'll be an honor. You know what I'm saying? Under commanding General Honor. It'll be an honor and a blessing. Look, hey, straight off the top, I love all of my niggas. That shit ain't gon' stop till we on top when we ballin', my nigga. We be fly as fuck, you know them bitches be stalking my niggas. That shit I never change, and it's the same with all my niggas. City to city, I should be at home. That's what my ribs say. But bitch, I'm grown. I'm in these streets and closed caption. Niggas know we bout that action. If a nigga play with me, then my Hakim gon' let him have it. Hey, make you the shit, this truth the shit. Nigga play, I let that Ruger hit. Get on them tracks, they be like, who is this? I'm rude with it. Ain't got no manners. All them pussy niggas talking shit. Yeah, I know they can't stand us, but we UPK Louisiana, bitch, that's what I'm reppin'. And my niggas solid number, real ones in my section. If you wanna get down, put your boots on, start stepping. Brotherhood is a weapon. Brotherhood is a weapon. Better watch how you steppin', cause brotherhood is a weapon. If I die for my niggas, it'll be an honor and a blessing. Better watch how you steppin', cause brotherhood is a weapon. Brotherhood is a weapon. Better watch how you steppin', cause brotherhood is a weapon. If I die for my niggas, it'll be an honor and a blessing. Better watch how you steppin', cause brotherhood I lay my life down right now for all my sisters and brothers, because I love them. I see them dapping and hug them. It's amazing to see how well we adapt from the struggle. Born again from a life of sin, trapped in the gutter. My mind frame was to kill my own kind. Feeling inferior, waking up ready to die. Run with them killers, so it's just a matter of time. For I take your life or let you take mine. That's when I realized the slaves killing slaves while the white man live to get old. We in them graves, the shit got me feeling played. I opened the Bible, went through them records, found out we was royalty, a nation to be respected. But in this world we rejected, we hated for our complexion. Still fighting to get accepted. We hear the truth and reject it, but love is getting corrected. And all my niggas correct me. The commandments, the foundation we erected. Brotherhood is a weapon. Brotherhood is a weapon. Better watch how you steppin', cause brotherhood is a weapon. If I die for my niggas, it'll be an honor and a blessing. Better watch how you steppin', cause brotherhood is a weapon. Brotherhood is a weapon. Better watch how you steppin', cause brotherhood is a weapon. If I die for my niggas, it'll be an honor and a blessing. Better watch how you steppin', cause brotherhood is a weapon. Hey, hey. Hey, hey.
Real talk. Yeah, that's the one thing. Yeah, absolutely. Where that double down. That's gonna make brothers turn their heads. Brothers, sisters, everybody gonna.
That's how you say David individual.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and clap it up for the class. Shalom, Yahweh, Shem Yahshua, Barakatah, all the brothers. Shalom, Yahweh, Shem Barakatah, Shem Yahshua, all the sisters. This is Israelite School, Universal Practical Knowledge. Started on 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. It's the Friday night Lashawan Qadash class in Killeen, Texas, where we break down the scriptures from a linguistics perspective. We go into these scriptures and we break it down and we go into our language. You know what I mean? We teach Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans we've been teaching Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans their culture since 1969. You know what I mean? And we go into these scriptures and get our language as well. You know what I mean? Our culture is all up and through this Bible. Even just the way we talk, the slang that we use, you know what I mean? Things like that. How we deal with one another, the culture. We're going to get into it as we get into the language a little bit deeper tonight, as we do every night. But you'll see it as we go through these scriptures. You'll start to see that the same way we talk as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans today, regardless of what language you speak, whether you speak Spanish, whether you speak English, whether you speak Patois, whether you speak Creole, whatever you speak, the slang and the culture and how we use words and how we communicate with one another, it's all in this Bible. That's why when you read the Bible and you hear, you know what I mean, there was a serpent in the garden, your oppressor hears, oh, there was a snake. There was an animal, there was a snake, you know what I mean, that talked to a woman and told her to eat an apple. But we know when we say snake, we're talking about you know what I mean, a crooked man, you know what I mean, a man who can't be trusted. Just like how we say a rat, you know what I mean? It's not talking about Master Splinter. We're talking about, you know what I mean, a snitch, a man who can't be trusted. You know what I mean? You say a dime, you know what I mean? You're not talking about 10 cents. You're not talking about a coin. You're talking about a woman who's beautiful, very beautiful to look at. You know what I mean? All of those slang terms that we use today amongst one another, it's all in the Bible. You know what I mean? So us understanding this language is a very big part of our culture and identity. I mean, so that's what we've been teaching since That's what we've been teaching since 1969, and that's what this class is all about. So if you got any Lashawan Qadash related questions, you can go ahead and ask them. You can go ahead and ask them in the chat, or if you're in class live, you can go ahead and ask in class. We'll get them answered for you tonight. You know what I mean? And as always, you know what I mean, if we don't have your answers tonight, then we'll just get the answers. I mean, this is not like your Christian church, Salakia, as I share the class. And as I'm doing this as well, I mean, brothers and sisters, if you're watching class, you know what I mean, make sure you like and share the class. Make sure, you know what I mean, if there's anybody, just like, you know what I mean, just like if you feel like you're learning your culture and identity because of the ISUPK, go ahead and share it with some of your relatives, share it with some of your family members and all of that, so that they can get the same thing you got. You know what I mean? Because Blacks, we were lost before we came into this culture. We were lost before 1969, before the ISUPK was established. We didn't know who we was as a people. We had no idea. You know what I mean? We was just lost as hell. You know what I mean? So now that these classes are circulating through the internet, they so popular to where, like we was talking about earlier, where now Kendrick Lamar is getting on the stage and chanting One West, where our school was established, 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. That's something that we say in the ISUPK, that we're 1 West. If you wear your fringes on a border of blue, on a border of your garment, that's 1 West, as opposed to wearing it on the bottom of your t-shirt. You know what I mean? You've got boots, braids, and your beard. You know what I mean? That's 1 West. You know what I mean? Things like that. where's this culture and the truth about Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans culture and identity been pushed into the world so strong that now you got celebrities like Kendrick Lamar, Kyrie Irving, just to name a few. You know what I mean? Kanye West, losing their careers, things like that, over claiming that the Israelites are black. And of course, they run a tuck tail to try to save their money. But this has been so, this has been pushed into the world so much. Brothers, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans have been learning their culture, from the ISUPK since 1969. So again, if you would, if you come across these classes, go ahead, hit the like, share, subscribe, and all of that, so that brothers and sisters can continue to learn their culture like we've been doing for, 50 plus years. All right, so for the past couple weeks, we've been kind of going over a little bit of the basics. We've been kind of drilling home, like you see over here. A lot here. You see over here, right here. These are going to be the 4 steps you're going to want to look at when breaking down a Hebrew phrase. So that's going to be very important. That's going to be the foundation of learning the Hebrew. So again, you got your root word. There's going to be a root word in a phrase that you're going to want to look at. You're going to want to know. You're going to want to know what the root word means, and that's how you're going to build your vocabulary. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a second, building your vocabulary, because that's the whole point, right? But after you establish your root word, then you're going to be looking for the prepositions, possessives, or tenses that surround the word, that enhance the word, that give the word depth and dimension. You know what I mean? To create a phrase. All right, so this is going to be the foundation, and then last week we kind of went over briefly the prepositions, right? Which is the one of the 4 steps that you're going to want to look into. Tonight we're going to look at the possessives. We're going to go through the possessives, which shows possession, like it says in the name. Possessives show possession. So it's going to be my, your, hers, his, ours, us, things like that. Theirs, y'all's, words like that. That's where possessives come in. So we're going to go over that a little bit. And then last week, we also went over the basic phrases that we go over, or that we use constantly, amongst one another. So you might hear brothers talk amongst one another, and brother might ask the brother a question like, "Hey, you mind handing me that microphone?" The brother be like, "Khan." Khan in the Hebrew is just yes. Or you brother might ask like, "Hey, you coming to class tonight?" The brother might be like, "La'a." La'a means no. Please, Baba Kasha, thank you, Tawada, you're welcome, Ayandabar, forgive me, I erased it earlier, but forgive me, Salakia, Adawan is Lord, Ak brother, Akwak sister, Bond son, Bach daughter. Things like that. We went over those things. Those are things that you're going to want to, have in your notes and eventually commit to memory. Because again, the whole goal is for us to be able to have conversation with one another. All right. And then finally, last week we went over. I think we went in the Bible Hub last week, right? Or a lot.
Yeah, Bible Hub.
We went in the Bible Hub briefly. Where did we go in Bible Hub? Anybody remember? I think we went into
Genesis?
Yeah, somewhere in Genesis. So we went into so basically every week we go into where we pick up or where we leave off in the last Sabbath service. That's the whole point. Friday night is for you to be able to prepare for Sabbath service. The Sabbath service, which we're gonna be doing tomorrow morning, Sabbath service is where we read the Hebrew, and then we read it in the English, and then we break it down from Genesis to, I think we read all the way, you know what I mean, all the way through the Old Testament. Because the Old Testament, as we all should be familiar with, was written and translated from Hebrew. So, wherever we leave off in Sabbath service in the previous week, that's where we're going to pick up eventually in Lashawan Qadash class so that we can prepare. So again, if you got any questions related to the Hebrew, or you got any questions related to the Sabbath service where we're gonna pick up tomorrow, now's the time to get it in. So usually we'll pick up from where we left off last week. Tonight, when we go to Bible Hub, we're gonna go into Genesis chapter 1 and verse 1. That's where we're gonna be picking up in Sabbath service tomorrow. All right, so we're gonna start all the way from the beginning. We're gonna do Sabbath service from Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, and we're gonna read the scriptures in the Hebrew all the way I believe the first 49 verses of the first 49 verses of the scriptures in Genesis, in Hebrew, and then in English. All right. And the whole point, of going through this is for us to be able to use these words in conversation with one another. All right. So we're gonna go over these possessives here in a little bit, and then we're gonna get right back into the scriptures, and we're gonna use these things. All right, so from where we left off last week, right? Gonna do a little bit of review. All right, so as a preposition, y'all got your notes, right? So prepositions, right? What does mean as a preposition? The character just looking at your notes.
I or I am.
I or I am. Now remember, that's absolutely correct. Now remember, there's a couple of these that are used often, and there's a couple of them that aren't used so often. You want to know all of them, but just be aware that some of them you're going to see often, and some of them you're not going to see often. Right? Then we got ba. What does ba mean as a preposition?
Mean in or on.
Absolutely. In or on. That's another one that's one that you're gonna see often. So and every time you see ba as a preposition, which where do prepositions come in a word, in a phrase? Where are you gonna see a preposition?
Salaki Baba Kushab, I could in the beginning of a phrase.
In the beginning of a phrase, absolutely. That's what you want to remember. When you see a character at the beginning of a phrase, and you're not sure what the root word is, or you're not sure how to break it down, just remember what you see at the beginning of the phrase. You automatically want to see it and make sure whether it's a preposition or not, and that's going to let you know. You know what I mean? That's going to help you along the way. All right. Next we got what's the next one? What's the next preposition?
Da.
Da meaning what?
Do or make.
Absolutely. Do or make. Now that's one of the ones that you won't see as often, but you will see it. I believe last week when we was reading through the Lashawan Qadash, there was Sabbath service. I saw both of these. I saw da used and I saw You know what I mean? Like I said earlier, is one of the prepositions that are rare, like that you might see less often as the other ones. But I saw it last week. So when you see it, you want to just you know what I mean, you just want to be aware of it. So you will see it. So it's not something that I'm not telling you that it's not going to be, I'm not telling you that it's something that you're not going to see very often so you can forget it. You will see it, but I'm just letting you know that you're just not going to see it very often. All right. A lot here. What's the next one?
Come on, sir. Next one is ha.
Ha, meaning what?
Ha meaning the.
Meaning the, absolutely. And that's another one that you're going to see often because we use the often in our, you know what I mean, in our daily speech. So you want to get real familiar with all of these. And they should be off the top of your head. As soon as you see them, you should know what these characters mean. You know what I mean? Because again, the whole point is for us to be able to speak the Hebrew. You know what I mean? We're not like your Christian pastor, or we're not like you know what I mean, these fake Israelite groups who broke off from 1 West 125th Street and started doing their own thing, and now they have a bastardized version of our culture. You know what I mean, where they just use, like a lot of times when brothers and sisters try to learn something new, they only learning it to hurt one another. Like when brothers go into Kemet or Egyptology, they go in and try to gather all of this information about this other culture so that they could go back to their family and be like, I know this and you don't. Same thing with you know what I mean, Buddhism, same thing with Hinduism, same thing with you name it, any other culture. What's the other popular? Muslim. You know what I mean? Brother will go to jail and somehow, you know what I mean, have some sort of awakening in prison, and they come out a Muslim, and all of a sudden, you know what I mean, he just, you know what I mean, he just got all this wisdom and understanding. The whole time he's serving another God of another culture, of a people that oppress his people. You know what I mean? But this ain't like that. You know what I mean? We're not using this information to try to hurt one another. The whole point of us learning and gathering this information is for us to use it with one another, so that we can have our own private culture and identity and practices. You know what I mean? That's the whole point. That's why we got these classes. That's why we got the protocols. That's why we got rank and order, so that we can teach one another, we can learn from one another, and we can use this. We can use this language amongst one another. That's the whole point. All right. What's the next one after ha?
Salaki Baba Kashava, could it be wa
Why? Damn right. Meaning what?
and?
Khan. Absolutely. Why meaning and. That's another one that's going to be often used. But remember, where in the phrase, and I'm going to try to be very careful how I word this, where in the phrase does why mean and? Go ahead. Where does it have to be in the phrase for it to be and?
Kawan because sir. I want to say in a minute, in the middle.
La, and that's why I asked the question, because why can appear in the beginning of a phrase, the middle of a phrase, and at the end of the phrase. And it means three different things. So that's what you want to pay attention to when you see characters. You want to pay attention to where it is in the phrase. And that's how you determine what it means. So what is it? Where is it? So I'm going to ask again, where does it have to be? Let me see what's up in the chat. Where does it, what did you say? It sounded like you just said it.
Is it in the beginning for and?
It has to be.
In the beginning.
It has to be in the beginning for it to mean and. If it's in the middle, what does it mean?
When the concert is doing.
Absolutely. That's what you want to pay attention to. And a bonus one. We're about to get into it, but what does it mean when it's at the end of the word?
Con, sir. So it'd be possessive. So it was at the end. So it would be either he, his, or it.
Absolutely. And that's what you wanna. That's what you wanna keep in mind. Because a lot of brothers and sisters get tripped up. Like when they see, they might digest one concept of, you know what I mean, of a character and its function, and they'll just run with it. You know what I mean? Just like, you know what I mean, how the Christian church, or how, you know what I mean, how young people, you know what I mean, how young people do. You go to you send your kid to kindergarten and they understand one concept, and you know what I mean, they just think that's their worldview. You know what I mean? You just want to keep in mind, just keep your I mean, just keep in mind, Salaki, I forgot what I was doing over here. But just keep in mind, uh just keep in mind and remember uh just all these different concepts, you know what I mean, that we have, you know what I mean, just remember the foundation, right? That's why we keep on going over these prepositions. We're about to go over the possessives. We keep going over these 4 steps. We go over the alphabet regularly, you know what I mean, things like that, so that you can compound your knowledge. You know what I mean? Compound your knowledge, and before you know it, like once, especially, you know what I mean, once if you've taken good notes, good concise notes, asking questions throughout class, uh, before you know it, we just gonna be, you know what I mean, we just gonna be speaking to one another in Hebrew, or you like I promise you, like right now, like if you get up on a podium or if you open Bible Hub and try to read the Lashawan Qadash, especially in front of, you know what I mean, the entire nation. Like, I don't know, y'all both got the Passover, right? And y'all saw the brothers getting called up, and they had to read the Lashawan Qadash in front of the nation. I mean, if you put in that position right now, it might be an extremely uncomfortable situation. But you're going to look back, maybe, I'll give it a month. That's 4 weeks, 4 classes from now. And you're going to be reading this Lashawan Qadash, and it's just going to make so much sense to you. Like, you just going to get it. Like, you're going to use this foundation, and you're going to be reading it, and you're going to be able to break it down. And you're going to look back on this class right now where, you know what I mean, we had this conversation where it's like now we like, I'm not really too comfortable with this. And you're going to look back, you're going to look back on this like 4 weeks from now and remember, A, how natural the Lashawan Qadash comes to us because it's our language, and B, you're going to remember the work that you have to put in to get there, right? All right, so we're going to get into the possessives, all right? Now, just a review real quick. I know we mentioned it before, but where's your possessive going to come at in a word?
Salaki Baba Kushab, I could, at the end of the word.
At the end of the word. That's where your possessive will come at. All right. So all of these things that we gonna go over, everything we just went over, the review we just did, those prepositions, those come at the beginning of the word. But what we're about to go over is gonna come at the end of the word. And it's gonna have a totally different meaning. You might see the same characters as you see on the prepositions list, as you do on a possessive list. But again, like we just talked about earlier, depending on the words or the character's position, that's going to determine what the meaning of that character is. All right. So again, you might see some repeat characters that you already seen in your tenses or in your possessives, but they're going to mean different things depending on where they are. All right. All right. Y'all y'all got possessives in y'all notes anywhere at all? I know we went over it a couple times. Okay, no sweat. All right, so we're gonna kind of review this real quick so we can get to the next part. All right, so all right, and again, typically, gotta get out of y'all way. So actually, put it right here. So typically, right? Well, let's run through it real quick. All right, so prepositions. Let me see. Do it in different colors so you can see the different possessives. All right. All right. What's the first one?
Salaki Baba Kashab, I could, y'all.
Yeah. And where did this ya come at the in a phrase?
At the end,
At the end. All right. And what does ya at the end mean?
me or mine.
Me or mine. So a good example, salak ya. Right? Salak means like we went over last week. Salak means forgive. Ya means me. Salak ya means forgive me. So what's the next one?
Salaki Baba Kashab, I could be ka.
But this is what you want to keep in mind. That ka at the end of a word is going to look different than a ka at the beginning or the middle of a word. All right, like you see up there at the you should have the Lashawan Qadash alphabet in your notes. You see on your in your notes, or if you're in class, you see the Lashawan Qadash board. You know what I mean? You see the different characters. All right, this is how we look at the beginning of a word, or at the middle of a word. This is how it's going to look at the end. All right, so whenever you see this, 9 times out of 10, it means what you say, man?
Salaki Baba Kashab, I could be you, me or mine.
The cop?
Oh no, I'm sorry. Salaki, to be you or yours. You or your.
All right. So you or yours. So salak ya means what? Salak ya means forgive me. How do you say forgive you? Huh. You want to say it much?
Sir, how you gonna try? Maybe Salakia Ka, Salakia, 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 Salakia.
So it sounds like you had it right. The last thing you said?
Salakia,
Oh, I know. Huh.
Salakia.
Huh. Give me a hand. It's really that simple. It's really that simple. Salak is the root word. Salak means forgive. Yah, when I say salak yah, I'm saying forgive me, because yah means me or mine. So to say salak to forgive you, you just replace the end. So instead of saying salak yah, you say salak ka. Or, and you should put this in your notes as well. Yah, when you see yah at the end of after a root word, it means me or my if it stands alone. But sometimes you'll see it in between the root word and the possessive. It's a buffer to make the language easier to be spoken, to make it more fluent. All right, so you might see like okay, in the Lord's Prayer. There's a chunk of the Lord's Prayer that trips brothers up a lot. You know what part I'm talking about? Okay, no sweat. Let me know what that part is, just to see if you agree with me or not. But it's a
The one's called Wa, Shalak, 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 no, Wa. That's the one you're talking about?
that's the part that like is like a tongue twister to brothers. You got it.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm remembering by heart of them. But this Wasalak Yanawa, is that what it says? Wasalak Yanawa?
Yeah, and it's, who knows that? I'm trying to see.
Wasalak Lanawa. Okay, Wasalak Lanawa. Kabawat Nawa. Kasalak Nawa. Kabawat Yanawa. All right? It trips brothers up. It trips brothers up because of the rhythm. Right? Okay, no sweat. I will have to. I think also Tapazar got the printout. I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, if you say you did send it to you?
Yeah.
Okay, most of okay, no sweat. But that when you see ya now, that ya is just a buffer, and you'll see that a lot in the scriptures. You see that a lot where you see a ya in between just the root word, like okay. So the 4 steps, right? We're all gonna go back to these 4 steps. 4 steps. You got your root word. Your root word gonna be 2 to 3 characters. 2 to 3 characters. Your preposition is gonna be at the beginning. Your possessive is gonna be at the end. All right. After your root word, you might see before your possessive, you might see ya. So, like how you said kabawaf, yanawa. We're gonna go over it in a second, but nawa means us, our, or we. You know what I mean? And again, we're gonna go over it a little bit more in depth, but ya or slakia, nawa means us, our, or we, right? That ya is just a buffer. It's just a buffer between the root word and the possessive to help the sentence or the phrase flow a little better. So like how we was talking about earlier, like salat ya means forgive me. So say forgive you, you said it was what?
Salaka.
It's
I want to kind of be Salaka.
salat ka. Or because salak already ends with that ka sound, you might see yucca, right? So we do it like this. Salat is the root word. Ya is the buffer. Ka is the possessor. All right. Now you won't always see it. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. But you just gotta know the context. Know what the context is. Ya means me or my. If it's unnecessary, if it doesn't belong in the word, then you know it's just a buffer. Right? And that's what you see a lot of times. That's what in that Lord's Prayer where you see Salat Yanawa, Kabawat Yanawa, Salat Yanawa. Or like a lot of times you might hear a brother just add it. just out of reflex. They'll just say it. Like it's not even there, but they'll just say it. Either one isn't wrong. So if you say salaka to say forgive you, or to say I forgive you, ah salaka, you're not wrong. Or if you say ah salak yaka, I for it still means the same thing, but that ya is just a buffer. All right, so that's something very important for you to just have in your notes. And also, just a sidebar, since you brought it up, well, I'll bring it up later. But yeah, asalaka or asalak I forgive you. So brother be like, hey salakia. You respond, asalaki. I forgive you. Forgive me, brother. I forgive you. We all good. You know what I mean? And either one, a brother will know what you're talking about. And that's the whole point. That's like, this ain't like our oppressor's language, where it's like they deliberately, because they devils. Devil means to deceive. So their whole nature is to deceive you. So if you speak your oppressor's language, I don't know how many brothers, you know what I mean, have worked in like you know what I mean, some office job, or you gotta type up some email or some garbage with your oppressor, and they speak in these ways and just they using these words that don't make sense, and or they using words that they don't use in a regular life. Like why ostracize I had to go and optimize the ability of the fax machine. Like they talk in ways that's unnatural, that they don't go home and talk to their wife in that way. They don't go and talk amongst their peers in that way. But they'll, especially like if you go into the judicial system, they use all these words like I had to reprimand the objection, sir. The like they use these words that they don't even use in their regular life. This ain't that. Like it's real practical. You know what I mean? So the whole point, unlike your oppressor, is to be understood. So as long as we understand what you're saying, I mean, whether you say salak ka or salak yaka, as long as we understand what you're saying, it's all good. You know what I mean? It's just that simple. All right. So what's the next possessive we got? All right.
Salaki Baba Shava could it be wa,
Meaning what?
he, his, or it.
Uh, he or he. Or actually, like it. More commonly, right? It's going to be his, right? Means he or his, or its, because we're talking about possession. So we're talking about what belongs to what, right? We're talking about something belonging to something. So his or its, in the context of belonging to. All right. The next one is
Salaki Baba Shava could it be ha,
ha, meaning what?
her,
Her. All right. And then the next one.
be Salaki Baba Shava could it be nawa,
Meaning
our, we, or us.
our, we, or us. All right, so like that part of the scripture that we was looking at a second ago, it was wasalakla nawa, kabawaf nawa, kasalak nawa, Kabawak Yanawa. You hear all them nawas, and it doesn't matter whether you say Nawa or Nawa, both of them are correct. Again, the whole point is to be understood. All right? But you hear those Nawas because that portion of the scripture is saying what? Let's see if go ahead.
So like if I push up, it would be our Father.
But that's a good example. That part of the prayer that I just explained was in the middle of the prayer. But our Father is where? In the beginning. So how do you say our Father? Since we're on the topic. You want to say it in the mic?
Abanawa.
Okay. Abba no. Or Abba no what? Same thing. I understood what you said. It's huh?
You said
Say it in the mic, talk.
you would say Abana, Abanawa.
Abba no what? It doesn't matter whether you say Abba Nawa or Abba no what. It's just it's the same thing. It's just your accent. Like for example, like where you from?
Louisiana, New Orleans.
You from Louisiana, born and raised?
Mhm.
And
Louisiana as well.
that's a perfect example because even though both of y'all born and raised in Louisiana, y'all have different accents. I mean, and that's just how it is, regardless of what language we speaking. Yeah, like it's just some things we just say differently. That's more comfortable. You know what I mean? For certain brothers to say things a certain way. So that's the difference. So whether you say Abba Nawa or Abba Nawa, it's the same thing. We understand it. All right. But when you hear them Nawas, we're talking about that portion of the scripture that or that portion of the prayer that I had brought out that Salakinawa, Kawawakinawa, Kasalakinawa, Kawawakinawa. That part is saying, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. That's the portion of the prayer. So, wa salak. Let's go ahead and break it down real quick. We're gonna use what we already learned today to or what we didn't already learn thus far to break this down. So wa salak la now look. One of y'all want to come up and break this down real quick? Terms in English? To English? Come. Let's break it down in English. Get yourself ahead. Right, so the one like we just went over is our, right? What's your root word? Meaning, and we just kind of went over it.
Forgive.
Right? Forgive. Excellent. So now, wasalak. What does that mean? A wa at the beginning of a root word.
Would be he and his.
At the beginning?
At the end. At the end. This is
No. Yeah, that's the beginning of the
this is the beginning. Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
So why would be the end? I mean that way. So that would be the
Yeah, so we wrote it in the actual. This is just the English transliteration, so it's reading left to right. But if we read it in the Hebrew, I would write wa salat
Yeah.
lanao.
I'm gonna see.
Yeah. So and forgive. La means what?
That would be 2.
Con. Give yourself a hand. Like I'm gonna change this one part though. You're not wrong, but just to keep it in context, what else can no one mean? So we got our.
Me or us?
So
Us.
proper context, us. So in the English, what part of the scripture is this? In the English, this is the Lord's Prayer. And forgive us. And forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. So, and forgive us. Wasalat now, forgive to us. And we want the Lord to give his forgiveness to us. Right? So wasalat lanawa. What's the next part? So after wasalat lanawa. What? All right. All right. Now, I will watch the one. Let's start with the possessive, right? Noah again. Our, right? Kawawat, just for time's sake, Kawawat means debt. Kawawat means debt. So this whole phrase, Kawawat Noah, means our debt. Right? And then the next part is what's the next part? You say Kasalat Noah. It just repeats itself because the message is repeating itself. Is it Kasalat Noah or Kasalat, you know? You said it's
Kasalat Noah.
Kasalat Noah, okay. All right. Boy, you want to break this one down real quick? That's correct.
It was?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, now why are you about to change it? I'm just curious.
I thought it sounded wrong because I was trying to read the Lord's Prayer in my head at the same time.
Okay,
I
that's
think I got confused.
Okay, no sweat. But what you said was absolutely correct. Give me that. Ka, as, or like, as, we, or Salakia. You was about to put we?
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah, that, okay, you was correct. Salakia, that was my
I
fault.
know, yeah.
Yeah, that was Salakia. As we forgive. You was absolutely correct. As we forgive. As we forgive. Ka salak the what? As we forgive. And then the next part. And I'm gonna break this down real quick. Kawawaf. Alright, and I'm gonna see we kind of went over this last week. And this is what you want to do with every phrase, right? Ka wa wa. Oh, what's the last part?
So yeah,
Kawawaf, you know. Right. Okay. All right. Now before I break before I go a little before I break it down a little further, so y'all want to come up and break this down real quick from what we just went over?
I have, yeah. I ain't gonna skip all I know.
Like,
Oh, okay then.
real quick, what's that? So you know that Kawawaf is a root word that means debt or debtor, right? So what did we just talk about? Yah on the possessors.
You
Possessors after the root word.
after yeah, that's what I'm
Or, but this is the reason why we're breaking this down. It could be me, my, or both. That's all that is right there. Just a bustle between the root word and the possessor. That's all that is right there. It's just a buffer. All right, now let's break this down. All right, so Kawawaf. All right, I'm gonna write it in Hebrew just so y'all can kind of get a visual. We're gonna do the same thing we did last week, using these same 4 steps. All right. Now remember what we said about these 4 steps. I forgot to put the last step. All right, last step is tenses. All right. So I'm gonna write it in Hebrew. So Cha, Wav, Kawawaf. Now this is the root word. This is the root word. Now what do we automatically know about this root word? Based on we went over this last week. You gotta look like
Is that
where your mic is?
about this phrase you gave us now, Salaki, about if I could, about the phrase that has four or more characters, so it automatically have a root word.
Yeah, right. So there's a root word. Okay, so this is the root word. But looking at this root word or looking at this word, because like you said, it has more. If it has four or more characters instead of, because the root word has 2 to 3. So if it has more than 2 to 3 characters, it means there's something in this word that's adding to the word. And that's what you want to, when you're looking at phrases like this, like something like this will be intimidating. Like you looking in Bible Hub, you'll see something like this and it'll just be intimidating. It's like, what the hell's going on here? But when you see something like this, automatically you can break it down because you know that there's something added to this root word. So I'm gonna just give you this for time's sake, right? Chawab is the raw root. Chawab. Chawab, if you look into your concordance, your Hebrew dictionary, right? Which is gonna be at the back of your concordance. Chawab means to owe or to tie. To tie, right? Now, with this being a root word, right? Oh, tie. Now, what does that leave? Right. They're right. Tense.
I want to kind of leave tense.
Right. So we went over the tenses, right? In detail. I just want to make sure I got it in y'all notes before I ask y'all this question. I don't want to ask y'all something that y'all don't have in your notes.
Concert, dude.
Okay, so what does waf mean?
Come on a concert, or why? I guess it's like a servitude or
Servitude, servile, subjugation. So whenever you see a waf, or what are the three? I think there's 3 of them, right? You got all 3 of them in your notes.
concert.
You got before you get them, Vaughn, you got them all in your notes. Or no, just the in the servile tense. You got all 3. Okay, no problem. Okay, we're gonna go over that in a second as well. Or I think next class before we go into Bible Hub. Tonight we just gonna go over the possessives. Make sure you wrote them down. Make sure you understand them fully, and then we're gonna go into Bible Hub and then look at it and see it in practical usage. And then next week we're gonna go into tenses in depth. Or if you want to, if you need to, tonight we could go into it. We can go into it real quick. I believe we went over it briefly. I think we did like 2 weeks ago. But if you don't got it and you want to review it real quick, then we can do that as well. It's up to y'all. But so the 3 tenses that are used as a servile tense. I'm gonna run them. Oh yeah. Good.
So like about if I could, it'd be ha, ta, and waf.
Right. So we got waf right here. All right. Waf is a servile tense. So chawab waf is to tie in a servile tense. So if you owe somebody, you're tied to them in servitude. Like a perfect example, you got Jacob and Laban. Because he made a deal with Laban, to have his daughter, the deal was that he would serve Laban for 7 years for his daughter. So because he made that deal and he had his wife, he received his wife from Laban. Now he owes Laban 7 years of service. So now he's tied because remember last week we went into Genesis and Jacob was trying to. He had served Laban for 20 years, and he was trying to go back to where his father's land was, but it was hard for him to leave because he was tied to Laban because of his debt that he owed to Laban. So Kawab means to owe or to tie, and Kawawath means Kawawath or Salakia. Wath just means, it implies a servile tense. Kawawath means that you have a debt to somebody. So that's just the breakdown of that. All right. All right, we're gonna get the, what time is it? It's 8:20. All right. Try to see if I can get through this real quick. All right, so what was that? So we got Noah. Lock arrows back. All right, Noah means us, our, we. What's next?
Salaki Baba Bishop, if I could, would it be come cam?
Calm. Remember, Abagadahawaza. You merge the last two sounds. Okay, come. So Abagadahawaza Kayaka Lama Nasa. It's the same sound. So calm means what?
Salaki Baba Bishop, if I could, it'd be your.
In what? Now it might get a little tricky. This is where you want to pay attention. All right. It means your in what context? So because we already got ka means your, right? You got a response or something? You got a question, comments?
I want to comment if I could. I'll give it a try. I'd be plural, but I guess we'll be in the middle.
I see why you said that because I had it abbreviated when I had it on the board, and that just shows. Give yourself a hand. That just shows that you were paying attention and taking notes. So that's damn sure commendable. But I'm gonna explain what my notes meant. Let me bring this camera down just a little bit. All right. So okay, so what is ka mean? Okay, so let's lock you. I'm gonna go back to ka. All right. And you want to just put this in your notes as you writing it down. All right. So you said what does ka mean? Because you was right. It means your. Go ahead. You want to do
It means your.
your in what context?
Plural.
Plural. So plural.
But just put it on know what the M means.
What the M?
Masculine.
Masculine. Give him a hand.
Oh, all right.
Plural
I
masculine.
would end on by the way
That's what the M is for, masculine. Plural masculine. Because remember, we're talking about possessors. Remember, possessors means ownership. So who owns it, right? And possessors come at the end, right? So it wouldn't be middle. That's just how you would rule it out. And what's up?
Now, could you give us a phrase, write out a phrase for us, using it in the like in a masculine way?
Let me think. So okay. What is if I say I mod you? What does that mean? To stand. All right. So I mod means stand. I mod. Yum means y'all. Young or plural in a general sense. Now, if I was talking to because come means plural masculine. This is a room full of men. So if I wanted to say to a room full of men to stand, you would say I mod yakum. Because the ya is a buffer, and then come means you or your in the plural masculine sense. So I mod yakum. And then same with to sit. You remember what and how you say sit? And you if you're not able to attend physical Sabbath service, we say after the prayers and at the end of the class before we sit up. Salute out. And
I done heard this over the time.
and you want to write this down in your I don't know, do you have a running list of root words?
Yeah, I got that. I like the picture before you got erased. I got like the whole board.
Okay, no sweat. Okay. What you want to do is write this down as well. Like, remember what I showed you in my notebook. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, it's over here.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, I do. I got a picture of that too. I know exactly.
okay, Most High Christ. And you want to, like, when you come into a new root word, especially a root word that we use often, because we say imadium and we say the word for sit often.
Yeah.
I don't think it's on there. I don't think I wrote it down. But my point in bringing that up was for you to write it down. Like, you want to start your own list. Like, of course, you want to. I got most of those words from the Lord's Prayer, which we're gonna break down soon. After we do the, I think y'all let me know. You know what I mean? Whatever is more beneficial for y'all. But next week we're gonna go into the tenses, and then we can do it next week, the Lord's Prayer, and then go into Genesis, or we're gonna go into the Bible Hub because we do got to go in the Bible Hub just a little bit so that we keeping up with Sabbath service. But I don't think the word for sit is on there. It's not on there. Most of those are just in the Lord's Prayer. And that's good that you got that. So what you probably want to do as soon as possible is just write those words down. Because again, if it's in your phone, it's good that you use it in your phone. But for you to get it in your mind, you got to write it down. That's how you get it out your phone to where you don't ever have to go to your phone again. You write it down in your notes, and then you never have to look in your notes again because you wrote it down. So it's in your mind. So you before I give the answer, there's Sabbath service. When we say sit, how do we tell the brothers and sisters to sit? No sweat. So in Sabbath service, we say imadium, which means to stand. We're talking to more than one person. Yesha, or so like that again too. Imadium, which means to stand. We're talking to more than one person, so it's yum. And then we say sar, which means turn. Wapanya, hakwadum. Wapanya means and face. Hakwadum means the east. And then we do the prayers. And then we say sar. We turn back to the teacher. And then we say yashabyum. Yashabyum is sit, to be seated. We're talking to a general public. Right? Yashab. Yashab means to sit. Yum just pluralizes it, so y'all sit. Uh-huh. Yashab. Yashab. Y-A-S-H-A-B. Yashab is the root word. Yashab. Yashab. And I'm separating the root word because of the question you asked. You asked, how would you use this in the practice? In the masculine plural sense. So how do we use this for stand? Remember what I said? Ahmad, yeah, come. Because remember, we're using this, come. So, Ahmad, yeah, come. So, y'all, plural masculine. So, y'all, as a group of men, stand. Ahmad, yeah, come. Imad Yakum. Imad Ya as the buffer. And then come. Imad is the root word. Ya is the buffer. Because it might be a little choppy to say Imad come. Imad come. It doesn't flow as effectively as Imad Yakum. So that's the whole practical reason for the buffer. Is to make the language flow effectively.
I think you're ready for right there. What we were saying.
And this is excellent. This is excellent practice. This is excellent practice because what I mean. Now you get to see the Yah in effect. Like usually when we see Yah, we assume it means me or mine, especially when it stands alone, which is true. But you got to remember, it's very important to remember that this can be used as a buffer because that's what you're going to see in Bible Hub. And Bible Hub is going to be pretty much the guide on how we're going to use the language, because Bible Hub is the guide of how it was used back then. And the scripture say in Jeremiah for us to go back to the old past, which is the good way. So we go into Bible Hub, we go into the scriptures to see how the language was used back then. We don't want to use it in a new way, because then now we're bastardizing the language like our oppressors did. We want to go into the old way and how the language was used. And in the old way, you see this buffer. You see it often. So when you read it, you come across it. It's before possessive, it's just a buffer between the root word and the possessive. Like I forget who asked the question, but it was some controversy on Facebook. On well, it wasn't really controversial, but brothers was kind of. I think a brother had posted how to say "I love you," and it was I, ahab, which is love, ka, which is you. I think he said ahab ka, and it was some controversy whether it was or anya, because anya also means I. We'll get into that later, but it also means I. Anya. You see anya in the scripture means I. Right? And then ahab, the root word, love, and then some brothers will say yaka instead of ka at the end. They're adding a buffer. It's just the same thing. Whether you use the buffer or not, it just depends on practicality. Is it practical? Does it flow effectively? And that's how you determine whether you use the buffer or not. Because it's not going to always be there in the scripture. And you'll see it. You'll see when it's there and when it's not, and why it's there and why it's not there, and things like that. And we'll just kind of but either one, the point of the post, like a brother, I think a brother posted it, and brothers and sisters wasn't sure which one was correct. Both of them are correct. So whether you see the buffer or not, it's correct. So whether you say, like we just use the example of Yashab, Yakum, y'all sit, whether you say Yashab Yakum or Yashab Kum, both are correct. One just has the buffer, and one just doesn't.
So,
Kyle, you got a question or a comment?
come on, kind. So you said when you talk to the audience of men,
Uh-huh.
you say Yashab, come.
Yeah, come. So you could say Yashab Kum or Yashab Yakum using the buffer.
Come.
Either one is correct. Yashab Kum or Yashab Yakum. Now we say Yashab Yum because we're talking to, like right now, there's only men. It's for the same reason we salute the sisters regardless of whether there's sisters in here or not. Like we'll have a classroom that's empty and we'll still salute the brothers and the sisters. It's because we're online and we got brothers and sisters watching online. And we could have no viewers. Like let me look at I think we got 2 live right now. A second ago we had 0 viewers. Just being straight up. But you might go back and watch the class. So now, you know what I mean, you don't know who you're talking to. Like I'm teaching right now, what's the name? June 21st, 2024. We got a brother in the February 29th, 2027 watching the same class. Or we might have a sister, you know, I mean, years from now watching the same class. You know what I mean? What are we not going to salute her? Because she wasn't present today in 2024? Like, that's why we salute brothers, we salute the sisters, whether their sisters present or not. That's why we say Imad Yum, because brothers and sisters are watching online. So we, even though there's only brothers in here, we still speak in general because everybody, you know what I mean, whoever's on the internet is watching. All right, so, okay, so come is your in a plural masculine sense. So before we go to the next one, right? So what's the difference between ka, your, and come, your? You got an answer? Ka as a possessive in come. But they both mean your, right? So what's the difference?
The difference between calm
Uh-huh.
is that one is masculinity, the calm is masculinity, which also means yours, which is plural. You talk to more than one a group of people, a sister or brother that's in the room, is an audience.
Uh-huh.
And kind is just it could be you or your. All these is the way you can use it either way, correct?
No.
No, so it's just you, it's singular.
That's it. Singular. That's different. Singular. So ka is your singular, you or your. So if I say that's your bottle, I'm talking to you. You're singular. But if I say this school is yours, this culture is yours, I'm talking to y'all, plural. Right? Both of them is yours, but one is singular, one is less, or one is singular, one is plural. Now, okay, so this is plural masculine. What's the next one? Somebody answer?
Salaki Baba Kashaf, if I could.
What is?
Yeah, Salaki Baba Kashaf, if I could, it'd be Khan.
Right. And not to be confused with con.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Con, like the way I responded to you, you said con, and then I responded con. When I said con, I meant yes. What we're going over right now doesn't mean yes. All right. So again, you know the difference based on context. All right. So what does this con mean based on context?
Salaki Baba Kashaf, if I could, your.
In what context? Because we got ka, your, singular, ka, your, plural, masculine. What
It'll
does
be-
con mean?
Salaki Baba Kashaf, if I could, it'd be a plural feminine.
Plural, feminine. That's right. So the same way we just used the example of yeshab, which means to sit. Yeshab, yakum is how you would tell a group of men to sit down. Yeshab, yakun, ya being a buffer, and kan or yeshab kun if you don't use the buffer. Yeshab yakun or yeshab kun, that's how you would talk to women. Like a group of sisters. Yeshab kun, yeshab yakun. You or y'all. Right? And again, and real quick, while we're on the topic, this is also how you know that this is our language. Because this is how you say y'all. Y'all. No other culture has y'all in the language. Like you say y'all in English, and they think that you ghetto, you country, you know what I mean, you illiterate. Until of course they try to use it, and then now they put flavor on it. But you say y'all in English in a typical setting, in a corporate setting, like you put y'all in an email or something like that, or you go to your slavery and say, "What's good, y'all?" They're gonna be like, "Oh, you unprofessional." Yeah, but this is in our language. It's built into our language. All right. So that's just again, and there's like we was talking about before. There's so many different cues that you gonna see as we break down the Hebrew, where you see this is obviously our language and our culture. These little cues, like we the only people that say y'all comfortably with one another. Like we just say it without second guessing it. Your oppressor might say it, but they go pick and choose when they say it. And the reason why we pick and choose when we say it is because we have to assimilate to our oppressor's way of talking so that we can get, jobs in certain positions, so that we can be looked at in a certain way. Because we in hell. But again, our people only do that because of them. And they do it because it's not a part of their culture. But this is built into our culture, y'all. You know what I mean? So that's just another cue, right? All right, so what's the next one? The next possessive?
Salaki Baba Shaba, could it be Ma?
And what does ma mean?
There. There. There.
There. In what context?
Plural, masculine.
Plural masculine.
Oh,
You about to say something else?
yeah, I got a question on
Uh,
what is like second? Second, what would that mean? Like,
you said second?
Plural. You got it, you know the.
I'm not entirely. Let me see. Yeah. The water. Excellent question. All right, I'm gonna go back to that. Let's go to the next one, and then I'm gonna go back because I'm gonna have to go through the whole list to explain what y'all just said. What's the last one?
Salaki Baba Shaba, could it be Nah,
Which means
there,
in what context?
feminine or plural, feminine.
Plural feminine. All right. Now, based on your question, right, was the so that I think is a 1, 2, and 3 in the notes that y'all was looking at. One, uh, one means first person. First person. So if I say me, that's first person. If I say if I'm telling a story, right, and I'm talking about myself, this is the easiest way to understand it. This is how I had to understand it because I don't know about y'all, but I kind of had a hard time like getting it. Y'all might have an easier time, but I'm a little bit I'm a little bit slow. But if I'm telling a story and I'm talking about myself, I'm saying you'll never guess what happened to me at work today. I'm talking about me. That's first person. And if I'm telling a story and I'm talking to you, you're now the second person. And if me and you are having a conversation about Vaughn, Vaughn is the third person. All right? So me and me is first person. Me and mine is first person. You and your is second person as long as it's singular. Or it's like it, not as long as it's singular. He, if we're talking and then I say he, that's what perspective. First, second, and third is just talking about perspective. So what perspective is that? If we're talking and I say he, what perspective is that? First, second, and third.
Third.
Third. So he or his is third, right? Her, third. Our, us.
It was sick.
The first person. Because our, I'm talking about, I'm included in that. So first person. Now, y'all.
That'd be sick.
Second. In the masculine sense and in the feminine sense. So I'll say y'all. I'm talking to women. Second person. There. Now we talking about them. They not like us.
Come on, so it would be third person.
Third person. Third. So when we talking about women or men or a mixed multitude, they, third person. All right. Did that answer your question? All right. And that's how possessives work. Like possessives is who we're talking about and the perspective, right? And that's how you draw context. That's how you draw context from the Hebrew. Like that's what's gonna make it easier to read the Hebrew. If you're locked in on the context of what you're reading, then you're gonna. This is just gonna become like second nature. Like I know we're talking about like in this scripture, like let me see. In this particular scripture, right? Let me think of an example. In a particular scripture, we know like Esau when he wanted the pottage, he's like, "Give me the pottage, or I feel like I'm a die." Paraphrasing. That's first person. He's talking about me. Give me the pottage, because I'm about to die. So you'll 9 times out of 10 see Nathan. Yeah, give. Nathan means give. Yeah, as a possessive means me or my. So give me Nathan. Yeah, and then the ha, the, whatever the word is for pottage or soup. Uh, and then Jacob, he says, "I'll give it to you." So uh, he'll say Anya Nathan, which is give. Anya Nathan, ya ka, ya being a buffer, ka meaning you or your. So I'll give it to you if you sell me your birthright. Right? Now that's second person because he's talking to Esau. I'll give it to you. Right? Let me see. Well, you get the point, right? But depending on the context of the story that you're reading or what you're reading in the Bible, uh, you'll know what these mean. You'll just know and how to use it. And again, the whole point of all of this is for us to speak to one another. So if you want to say, we'll use the same example, forgive. How do you say forgive me? Salat ya. So forgive me. How do you say forgive you? Say that again in the mic.
To forgive you, you say Salaki, yeah.
Salat ya is forgive me.
All right,
So salat
Salaki ka,
salat ya ka.
Salaki a cup.
Salat ya ka. Forgive you. How do you say Salat ya? Ya by itself is me or my. Ya before a possessive is a buffer. So yaka is you. Ya is me. Yaka is you. Yawa is he or his or him. Forgive him. Salat yawa. Or you might just see salat wa. Or most of the times, in what I've seen, you'll see the buffer more times than not. So that's why I'm drilling it. You'll see the buffer often, and I don't want you to get tripped up. So anytime you see ya after a root word and then it's followed by a possessive, don't think like when I say salat yawa, don't think forgive me you. That's gonna confuse you. Forgive me you. The ya is just a buffer. So ya is just in between the root word and the possessive. So salat is the root word, ya is the buffer, you is or ka is you. So salat yaka, salat is forgive you. Salat yawa is forgive him. Salat yaha is forgive her. Salat yanawa is forgive us. Salat yakum is forgive y'all. Salat Yakun is forgive y'all talking to a group of women. Salat Yom is forgive them. Forgive them. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's where Yom comes from. Them. Like the plural, I would have to double check and make sure I'm correct. Let me, as a matter of fact, until I make sure, I don't want to teach that. You just make sure first. But you might see a ya in between. You might see a ya in between in between the root word and ma as a possessive, meaning forgive them. And then yun, or forgive salat yun, forgive them in a feminine tense. All right. All right, so we got the preposition, we got the possessives. What's the time? Oh, damn. All right, 55. All right, we got 5 minutes left. I just want to touch on this real quick. So let's go to Bible Hub, or you had somebody a question or comment? We're just going to spend about 10 minutes on this real quick. 10 minutes on this real quick, and this is go to Bible Hub. We're gonna go to Genesis chapter 1 and verse 1. All right. Y'all know how to distinguish between phrases, right? So how to because I'm gonna assign y'all phrases. So I want you to come up here and write down the first phrase, and then the next phrase I want you to write down in the Hebrew. In the Hebrew, we're not gonna break it down yet, but I just want you to come up and write it down. All right. Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. All right. You go. We write it from right to left. All right. Write nice and big and legible, meaning easy to read. You know what I mean? We write in a whole new different language, so you want to make sure brothers and sisters watching online can read it and understand what you're writing easily. Might need to write just a little bit bigger though. All right, we'll get there with you real quick. Huh? Oh no, you two up. That's 2 up. And the reason why you want to be real deliberate in how you write is because a lot of these characters kind of look similar. And as you write it, it's good to practice writing it because as you write, you start to realize the subtle differences between the characters. So, you know what I mean? That's why I got y'all coming up here and writing it. So that we don't confuse characters as we read it. When you write it, it's gonna make you a better reader. All right, that's it. Give us something there. All right, you got the next one. Let's see, what's the next one?
So I got one question.
Come.
So I know we read from right to left. That's also once we write the phrase down. So this be the beginning side, and not this.
Yeah.
So this is the beginning.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I would say ba.
1 second. We're gonna have him write this. I'm gonna have you write the next 2 phrases if that's the one. If you come with that. All right, and then we're gonna break it down just like you was about to do. bring that character a little bit closer to that, just so you know that it's all one phrase. It's all good. It's all good. We're gonna get into the penmanship in a second. Well, again, that's why we're doing this, so we can discuss these things. You might want to drop down to the next phrase is a little bit longer, so you're gonna need some space. So, like, I will start right here, and then go across, and then we're gonna break it down, and then we're gonna get out of here. Stay right there. Yep, get yourself in. Well, I'll go ahead and write it down, and then I'll break it down too. All right, he has to one time first. All right. So, first phrase. What characters we looking at? Ba in the mic. Oh.
It'd be Ba,
Then the next one.
Ra, Ah, Sha, Ya, Da.
All right. So now, first thing we already know. First thing we already know about this phrase, because this is one phrase. I'm gonna have you break it down since you wrote it. All right.
Say it like.
Yeah. What's you looking at this phrase? What's the first thing you should think?
It have more than it's gonna have a root word or possessive.
Well, just remember last week. Just lock in on the first thing you want to lock in on is it has more than 2 or 3 characters, so you know it's not just a root word by itself. Now you don't want to assume whether it has. You don't want to specify just yet. Just first thing off the rip, you want to look at it and be like, okay, this has more than 2 to 3 characters, so there's more than just a root word. That's what you want to know off the rip. More than just a root word. It could be this, it could be a preposition, it could be a possessive, it could be a tense, it could be all of these things, it could be just one of these things, it could be 2 of these things, any combination. But you don't want to specify until we break it down step by step. First thing, has more than 2 to 3 characters, so there's more than just a root word. That's the easiest way to look at it. All right. So what's the first place you're gonna look?
Look for the beginning, for the preposition.
Okay, so what's at the beginning?
Ba.
And I'm glad you said that. You're absolutely correct. Because you in Bible Hub, so you could have easily just said, I'll click on the concordance code and it'll separate the root for me. But what you just did is what you want to get in the habit of, because you're not always going to be looking at Bible Hub. So again, you could have just easily just like click on that concordance code. If you click on that concordance code, it's going to separate this. Ra'ash Yath. That's how you pronounce it. But what you did was absolutely in the right spirit. So ba is the possessor or preposition that means what?
Salaki Baba Kasha, if I could, in.
In. Now we read in Genesis 1:1. What is Genesis 1:1 off the top of your head? First sentence of Genesis 1:1. In the mic?
I want to kind of begin God for heaven and earth.
Right. So in the beginning. So we know ba is a preposition that means in. So what is this?
So that would be, a common kind of would be beginning.
Right. Come. Just that simple. Beginning. In beginning. Or in beginning. Ba ra'ashya. Ra'ashya, if you click on that computer store, it's going to tell you beginning. Right? So write that down in your list of root words. Now I'm gonna give you this as well. Ra'ash. Ra'ash is a root word as well. Right? Ra'ash is a root word that means head.
Yeah.
Head. Ra'ash, head. Alright. But Ra'ash Yah is a root word of the song. Again, root words typically have 2 to 3 characters. Sometimes it'll have more or less. Or so yeah, sometimes it'll have usually they'll have 3 characters. And sometimes they'll have more, sometimes it'll have just 2 characters. Alright. So Ra'ash Yah just means beginning. So whenever you read it in English, you see where beginning, you're 9 times out of 10 going to see Ra'ash Yah. All right. The next one, real quick. I don't want to go over too long. Cut. All right. So, well, you don't have to, unless you want to. You want to break it down over here?
I can't even.
All right. Let's look. All right. So, what characters we looking at real quick?
Looking at the first character, which would be Bob.
Bob. And the second one, you got to write it down.
Bob.
The second one. But I see why.
Ra.
Now, why did you confuse that for a dot?
I'm always forgetting. I always between the two. I get confused all the time. I don't know why.
Let me help you out. I'm gonna show you why.
I always get confused every time I see these two. That one, Ra and Don will always.
I'm gonna help you out. Ra has a rounded corner. Da is sharp, and it kind of extends past it. That's the difference, and that's why how y'all come up and write so that you can see the difference. So now, from now on, you're gonna write your Ra's rounded, and your Das are gonna be sharp. You got a question or comment?
No, on this Bible, they look exactly alike. They just got it just got the division at the bottom with 2 dots in the middle. Whatever actually whatever mark it is.
Yeah, you don't just ignore those dots and all of that. Ignore those dots. Those are vowel imposed. That's the vowel imposed Hebrew. We read in Biblical Hebrew workbook and textbook. The original Hebrew doesn't have vowels. Those dots and dashes underneath and on top, those are the oppressor, the European imposing vowels on our language. All right, most time first.
You said,
Mara'ah. Mara'ah, meaning created or create. Created or create. And the next one should be real easy. And while he's doing that, the word that he just broke down, create, Bara'ah, it just has 3 characters, so you off the rip know it's a root. Off the rip. That's it. So tell the brothers, tell everybody what characters those are real quick. You ain't gotta write the character just for time's sake. But just let them know
This is R.
So it's like stand to the side real quick, so they can see. And also coming up here, coming up here and writing it down and breaking it down, you're learning the penmanship, you're learning how to read it and break it down, and you're also in a way learning how to teach. Like you notice, like when I'm writing and I'm teaching, I stand to the side. You know what I mean? So the audience can see the board, and you're able to make gestures and point to things, break things down without, obstructing the view. So doing what we're doing, you're learning a lot of different angles without even realizing it. And then by the time you get to the point where you're teaching or you're breaking things down, things like that, like it's just gonna be muscle memory because you just did it so many times. So before you do it, like what we said at the beginning of the class, 4 weeks from now, your penmanship gonna be sharp. You're gonna we talked about a second ago. You're not gonna be confusing characters. Like the brother confused the die for the rock. We're not gonna be doing that no more. And also, you're gonna be able to, as you're breaking things down, you're gonna be able to explain what you're breaking down. You know what I mean? As you're breaking it down, that's teaching. You're breaking things down. You're reading and explaining what you're reading. You're writing and explaining what you're writing. That's teaching. All right. But go ahead. So what you got?
So this character here would be I. It would be La.
Con.
It would be Ha.
Con.
It would be Ya.
Con.
It would be Ma.
Right. All right. So what we looking at? What phrase is this right here?
This would be God.
Oh, how you say it in Hebrew?
Yahweh.
We'll read it. And stand to the side as well.
Allah Yahweh. Is that what you said?
Well, that's a
phrase.
That's a mod thing,
Wow,
right?
right here.
So,
You read it this way. Yeah.
so it's not Allah Yahweh, it's Allah.
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 Allah. Yahweh.
And then remember, when you read in the Hebrew,
Yum.
so,
Allah Hayam.
give me something else.
Yum.
Allah Hayom.
Allah Hayam.
All right? That's right. I'm going to break this down, and then I'm going to give y'all this word right here. This is going to be very important. It's going to be very important. It's not a word that we use often, but you're going to see it often, and you're going to want to know what it means. You're going to want to understand it, because otherwise, you're going to get confused. All right? So, Allah Hayom. Allah Hayom means powers. Whenever you see Allah in the scripture, it means angel, messenger, power, authority. Those four things. So this word Allah Hayom comes from the word Allah, which means power. Yom is plural. Plural. So more than one power. So your Christian church is absolutely wrong when they say God just he was the only one, and he just boom, and created the heavens and the earth. He had the angels do the work. He gave a command, he gave an order, he said, hey, do this. And we're gonna read as we go on, we're gonna get into it tomorrow. But as we read tomorrow, we're going to explain the Bible's going to explain exactly how it's done. How I just explained it. The Lord gives an order, let there be light, and then the angels do it. All right? So the powers, plural, this is what? The Ha. What does Ha mean? Okay, let's say this. What can Ha mean? What are all the things that Ha can mean? In the mic.
It can mean the as a possessive.
Um, possessive or preposition?
Preposition.
But where is it in the word? Is it at the beginning of the root word? Or is it? This will be the beginning, right?
What's that?
So it's not at the beginning of the root word.
It'd be a possessive. Yeah, it'd be a possessive, so it'd be at the end.
Well, okay, so just walk with me real quick. My question was, what all can that ha mean? And when you see things like that, that's what you want to ask yourself. What all could this mean? And then you just play the what's it called? What they call it? Dang, I just had it in my head. Elimination game. That's what it is. Elimination game. You just start eliminating possibilities so you can figure out what it actually means. Or if you don't know what it could possibly be, you just ask the question. Like you play the elimination game and you eliminate the possibilities of what you think it could be, but it still doesn't quite make sense to you, then you just ask the question. So we know for sure it's not a preposition. So we can eliminate that. So what can ha mean? You said it earlier. You said something earlier. Or what you about to say?
Salaki Bapashava could mean the.
Well, you said that earlier. And it's not that.
It's not the beginning of speech.
Right.
So it would be, oh, okay. You know it's in the word.
Right. So okay. So you said it.
Kind of one of the concepts. I know it's not her.
Right.
So we're going to be service.
Servile.
Servile.
So the powers that serve the Most High, and it's plural. So subservient powers, Allah Hayom. When you see Allah Hayom, and this is why it's important to understand the Hebrew, because Christians will read this, and in the English it says God created the heaven and earth. So in a Christian's mind, they like God created it, so He just like by itself. But you get into the Hebrew and you see Allah Hayom, you know that there is plural. Yom is plural. Allah means power. The Ha is servitude, servile tense, and the Yom is plural. So several powers under the Most High created the heavens and earth. Allah Hayom. So anytime in the scripture you see Allah Hayom, we're talking about the angels, messengers, powers, authorities, plural. And they all serve the Most High. Does that make sense? Let me know if it don't. But, and then this right here before we get up out of here. Af. Right? Now, if you look at, what does it say underneath in Bible Hub? Well, you know, with Bible Hub, it'll have the English translation kind of underneath. What does it say underneath Does it say anything? Right after Allah, you got these two characters. And what does it say? I think what color is the English is red up underneath?
It's red.
So what does it say up underneath?
Let's see, God.
Right here. Let me see what you got.
Oh, right here. What do we need there? We got a little.
This right here.
What is that?
That's what I was saying. I clicked it.
It don't say nothing.
Concept.
It's nothing. There's no like every other phrase got an English breakdown. Doesn't. It's just a click the concordance code. I believe there's a code above it. Just read exactly what it's, and it's going to help you understand.
It says as an untranslatable mark.
Untranslatable mark. It's like something. It's a what's the word? For lack of a better word, it's a phrase or an expression that connects. It connects one thing to another. So we're about to read. What's the word after matter of fact, let's go ahead and get to it because it's gonna be important as well. A lot here to keep y'all. I hope y'all don't mind. If y'all, you know what I mean, y'all ready to close out, then we'll stop right here. But if y'all want to, oh,
Other than that, I'm straight.
okay, no sweat. Okay, well, okay, no sweat. Well, I'll make it quick then. All right, so let me go to. So just connects one thing to another. So we just read in the beginning.
Would it be like a buffer? Would they be considered?
That's a good way to think about it. It's just a connector. And I'm gonna explain exactly what I mean. So in the beginning, Bara'ashya, create, Bara'ah, Alahayim, God or the angels. As, the next phrase is Ha Shamayim. We talked about Shamayim last week. Shamayim means heavens. Ha at the beginning just means let me write it down real quick. So it says Ha Shamayim Wa'ah Ha Aratazah. All right. A lot. We'll make it real quick. We're gonna get on the side of here. So Oth connects the powers to what they're creating. It's just you'll see Oth in between two things that are related. So the powers are creating Ha-Shamayim, the heavens. Right? So Ha just means the, Shamayim means heaven. All right, we'll pick up here next week and break it down further so you can add this to your notes, your list of root words, etc. And then Wa'ah. Wa mean and. Ah is just a connector. So again, the Alahayim to what they're creating. Right? Ha means the. Aratazah means earth. Right? But when you see Ah is just a connector. It's just a phrase that connects usually a subject. The subject is or not subject, I don't want to say it like that. But a person to a thing, like a person to an action that it's. I'll have to explain a little deeper next week, but it's important that you know the difference between us and a thuh, because a thuh is spelled the same way. So I was
gonna ask like, would a thuh be like in the middle of the word instead of like
la. Like in the salute, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Barak, a thuh. A thuh is just a word that means you. It's a formal way to say you. Right? A thuh just means you. If it doesn't mean you, like if you look at Bible Hub, it'll say the English underneath in red. If it doesn't say you underneath, and ta, we pronounce it as. And it's that connector that we're talking about right now. But if you see you up underneath, it's pronounced asa, meaning you. All right? That makes sense?
Second verse.
So, they're right. They're right. Both sides correct. All right, with that, I'm going to say Imadium, which means the stance. I'm going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers. When the Israel about the Shabbat, Imadium, Barak, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shabbat, Yadim Matah, which means hands down. Sar means the turn. We're going to turn the face to the sisters, give courtesy to the sisters. When the Israel about Shabbat, Imadium, Barak, Yahweh Shamar Latham Bashim Yahshua. Y'all give a top. This was.